We have a huge Oiler injury update as the team heads to Northern California to take on the San Jose Sharks. Tonight should be a very interesting one as we set that one up here on Oilers Digest and also provide you with some huge injury update news. All that and more today on Oilers Digest. But first, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do so, as 76% of you have not yet hit that button down below for any and all Oiler news leading up to the Stanley Cup playoffs and eventually the summer there in the dog days of summer with free agency. We will have it all covered here on Oilers Digest. But without further ado, folks, California dreaming of a healthy team. Yes, tonight the Oilers take on the San Jose Sharks there in a team that is, trying to, just finish out the season with the Sharks, and the Oilers still have a lot to play for in the standings. 9:30 Central, 8:30 Mountain tonight. Again, another late one there in California. This is the first time these two teams have met since December 21st. Yes, they've gone all season and essentially play each other 3 times in a span of 2 weeks, or rounding it up to 2 weeks there. I mean, 13 days, that's 2 weeks, but just the way the scheduling works there with the Oilers coming to San Jose twice and San Jose coming to Edmonton once. But tonight is pretty much, the first game of a best of 3, and we've got some injury updates here from head coach Kris Knoblauch. He said out of all the players that are currently injured, of course, Evander Kane, probably won't see him until the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Connor McDavid, we're all waiting for that, but the team is essentially just letting him get the gas tank back up to 100. Stuart Skinner, probably won't see him until early next week. But Trent Frederic will be the first one that we see return from injury out of those 4 players. Knoblauch confirming Trent would be the first one returning. Hopefully he can play at some point on this road trip, maybe the last game, which would be Monday, April 7th against the Anaheim Ducks, which again, the Ducks, a floundering Ducks team. What a way for Trent Frederic to make his debut and let Anaheim know exactly who he is. And Trent Frederic is rip-roaring. He is ready to go. Minus the hockey part, I try to bring a lot of energy on the bench. I can be a bit of a cheerleader, getting guys going. I try to pump tires as much as I can and build guys up. The positive thing is I've gotten to know everyone. Of course, he says he's been to, teammates' houses. They've included him on dinners in this road trip. So just a bit of camaraderie here as Trent Frederic gets accustomed to the Oiler lineup. So when I get into a game, everyone knows what I'm about. Everyone knows the person I am, and they can yell at me or pump me up, whatever they want to do. That's exactly the kind of energy guy the Oilers need on this roster. Not just, energy on the bench, but again, energy on the ice, with the big bad Bruins, Trent Frederic. You saw him fight. You saw him hit anything in sight. And, of course, heading into the playoffs, that is crucial for Edmonton. As many have said, Edmonton's been easy to push around all year, but Frederic and Evander Kane back in the mix. Who knows how healthy he will be in the playoffs, but still, just the presence will help out the Edmonton Oilers. As you can see there, the lines in pairings, Frederic, McDavid, and Kane, all on the ice this morning, or yesterday, I should say. Yesterday's practice, the unofficial 5th line, but Vasily Podkolzin, Leon Draisaitl in, Victor Arvidsson, Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in, Kasperi Kapanen still on that second line. Had a pretty decent game against Vegas. Of course, like I said, he was one of the best Oiler wingers that night, so hopefully he can continue that hot streak. In the third line of Jeff Skinner, Mattias Janmark in, Connor Brown, and then Max Jones, Adam Henrique in, Corey Perry. So I do believe, Max Jones would be the first one out of that lineup once if Frederic returns on Monday against the Ducks. And on the back end, still no Matthias Ekholm, which is, a drastic loss for the Oilers, but they are making do without him, although, you love him back in the lineup. But rest up there, Matthias, with Darnell Nurse in, Troy Stecher, and then Brett Kulak in, Ty Emberson, in a very interesting move here from head coach Kris Knoblauch, more so just trying to gain on LA in the standings there. Cal Pickard gets the start tonight against the Sharks in favor of Olivier Rodrigue, but we could see Olivier Rodrigue on Monday night against the Anaheim Ducks, so that would mean Calvin Pickard would get 5 starts in a row, not just the 3 he started already, but tonight and then Saturday afternoon against the LA Kings. But when it comes to Ty Emberson, former San Jose Sharks defenseman, of course, the Oilers have 2 former Sharks defensemen on this team, Ty Emberson and Jake Wallman. But Ty Emberson trying to find his footing on this team. Just the kind of role that he brings. It's a much older team here, and we have some really good players on the back end. So those guys have earned their ice time in their spot in the league. Of course, on the right side there, it's been a revolving door with Emberson, Troy Stecher, and John Klingberg, although who knows what happened to John Klingberg. It's awesome to be able to learn from them day in and day out, whether it's practice or off the ice. I'm just looking at how they handle themselves and how they built such a good career developmentally, folks. When it comes to Ty Emberson there, of course, 10 points in 30 games with the San Jose Sharks last year, but only 10 points in 68 games with the Oilers this season. Of course, more of a sheltered role here on the Oilers compared to last year with San Jose, where he had a bit of a bigger role. I think Ty Emberson, he's been just fine this year. Of course, he's had a rough stretch of games recently, but I mean, top right or top left corner, 24 years old. I mean, for a defenseman, that is very young and still lots of time for Ty Emberson to, again, find what kind of player he exactly is. I'm not worried about him whatsoever. Love him on this team over a guy like Cody Ceci. I'll say it, Ty Emberson over Cody Ceci. What a trade there by Stan Bowman adding on. It's been up and down for me this year. I think right now I'm trying to find my game again, but it's always a process as a young guy in the league. I think they say something about young defensemen. It takes a couple hundred games to find yourself. So I think I'm still doing that, but I'm trying to prove myself every night. And he's, barely cracked 100, not even at 100 yet. He's still 2 games away from 100 in the league. So still quite some time for Ty Emberson to exactly, try to find who exactly he is in the National Hockey League. But on the other side here, Jake Walman, someone that the Oilers brought in as a big piece from the trade deadline, says it's a different situation for sure, but that team's going to be good in a few years, saying, talking about the San Jose Sharks there and the kind of prospect pipeline that they are building, and they got a lot of great pieces. But coming here, it's a different situation. It's kind of just about fitting in for me. It's already a great team, and I just want to do what I can to provide that little extra and fit in where I can. So I think it's been pretty easy so far. And I mean, he's brought out the best in Darnell Nurse this season, which I mean is a win in itself there. I think when Matisse Ekholm does come back, I think you stick with the Ekholm Bouchard, and then you keep the Nurse Walman pair. I mean, that is a fantastic top 4 if Darnell Nurse continues to play the way he has been these past few games. But for Jake Walman, after scoring his first goal, lots of confidence. That is exactly what you need from a defenseman like that the Oilers, pretty much are trying to justify a trade. The trade has already been justified, but the player is just fantastic. But looking at Calvin Pickard, this will be his 4th straight start tonight, but the last time he started 4 straight was 4 years ago for the Detroit Red Wings. They're bookended by an 8.26 and a 6.25, but putting up a 9.55 and a 9.41, both against the Columbus Blue Jackets. So this is more of a way for Kris Knoblauch to see how far he can get with Calvin Pickard before the wheels start to fall off. And of course, saving Olivier Rodrigue for a bit of an easier game against the Anaheim Ducks, and just trying to more so guarantee a win against the Sharks tonight. But the Sharks, I mean, they've surprised some people this year with some of their performances, myself included. Saw them beat the Leafs in a shootout back in early March. I mean, what kind of performance was that? But I mean, the Sharks dead last in the league with 50 points, losing 3 straight, although their last loss was in overtime. But again, they beat the Leafs twice. That is all you need for a win sometimes, folks. 3-2 in a shootout and then 6-5. So I mean, the whole season, that's just a win in itself, beating a very good team twice. Sure, win to a shootout, but still, that's still 2 big wins against the Leafs. But I mean, other than that, the analytics do not like San Jose whatsoever. According to Evolving Hockey, San Jose ranks dead last in expected goals, second last in shot attempts with 31st and 30th in goal share at 5-on-5 this season. Only 2 teams have scored fewer goals per 60 in all situations, and the Sharks have been the league's worst defensive team by a wide margin, allowing 4 or more goals in 40 of 74 games, although they did play the Oilers pretty hard back in December. They're off the back of, I do believe, Yaroslav Askarov was the goalie in net for the Sharks. And if it wasn't for him, the Sharks just would have been run right out of the building. But just taking a look at the forward core there, spearheaded by Macklin Celebrini with Tyler Toffoli and Will Smith on his wings, with William Eklund, Alex Wenberg, and Colin Graf, Carl Grundstrom, Ty DeLeandra, and Cameron Lund, and then Barclay Goodrow, Zach Ostapchuk, and Noah Gregor fill out their forward core. On the back end, they're Mario Ferraro and Timothy Liljegren, Lucas Carlson and Jack Thompson, Henry Thrun, who's day-to-day, but he's looking to be in the lineup tonight with the last remaining piece from the Thornton and Patrick Marleau days, with Marc-Edouard Vlasic still on that Sharks team as their third pairing right defenseman there. In net tonight for the San Jose Sharks, Georgi Romanov, who the stats are not his friend, with a goals against average of 4.98 and a save percentage of .829, and he's facing the team that he faced off in his NHL debut last year with the Edmonton Oilers, when the Oilers beat the Sharks 9-2. But that just goes without saying. I mean, the Sharks just not have been that good all season long, and even the past couple seasons too. But Mike Grier really building something there in the Bay Area, and they will be a scary team in a couple of years. But of course, with Romanov there, a 7.78, an 8.97, and an 8.18 in his last 3 in net for all 8 goals against the LA Kings on March 30th there. So man, do the kid a favor and pull him. But the Kings are who the Oilers are chasing in the standings. You can just forget about the Vegas Golden Knights unless they completely fall off the wagon there and the Oilers pick it up. There's no chance the Oilers or Kings will probably get the Pacific Division crown, but the Oilers and Kings still jockeying for that second spot in the Pacific Division, with the Kings at 93 and the Oilers at 91 following tonight. That will be Edmonton's next game, but we can do some scoreboard watching tonight, folks. We can cheer for the Utah Hockey Club, of course. The LA Kings heading to Salt Lake City, and hopefully Utah can play spoiler off the back of Carol Melka. That game is at 7 Mountain, so before the Oiler game, you can probably catch a glimpse of that one and cheer for Utah. But after that, you can cheer for the Edmonton Oilers. Hopefully, it'll be a big win tonight. We will be back with a recap tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully, it is a win. But let me know down in the comments what you think about the team when they are fully healthy. Do you think they are a juggernaut in the NHL, or do you think there are still missing pieces? I'm very interested to see what you all have to say. But that is it for today. Enjoy the game tonight, folks. It's a late one, but still, it's Oilers hockey. Hopefully, they get the 2 points. Have a great rest of your Thursday afternoon, and take care. I'm Matt.